All right, on our last video, we looked at slope-intercept form. Right, we looked at slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. And we looked at our point slope formula, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Just a quick review here. In our in our slope-intercept form, our letter m, right, our letter m here is our slope. Our letter b is our y-intercept. Right? The y is always going to be a y. The x is always going to be an x. M could change whatever number m is. Right? That's what, that's a placeholder value, right? And same thing with b. It's just a placeholder. It could be any number. It could be a negative number, so it's not always going to be a plus sign. It could be a minus sign. Our point slope formula, our y and our x will always be a y and an x. Those are never changing. Our y1 and our x1, those are our points. So when we are given a point, for 2, right, that is our x1 and our y1. All right, so if I were to plug this into the point slope formula, it would be y minus 2 equals m times x minus 4. And hopefully I would have enough other information if I was given a problem where I could actually find my slope, so I would be able to plug that in for m. So slope-intercept form, point slope form, we are now in standard form is what we're going to look at today. Okay, standard form. And we're going to do the same thing with standard form that we did with our point slope formula, which is we are going to manipulate that equation so that we turn it into slope-intercept form. All right, this is the easiest way to see what our slope is and what our y-intercept is. So we are going to move our terms around so that we end up with y equals mx plus b. So first things first, our standard form is ax. And this pen is giving me a hard time again. Ax plus by equals c. Right? And my a, b, and c are just variables representing any number. It could be any number. And again, I have a plus sign in the middle here. All right, I have a plus sign right here, but it could also be, if my b number is a negative, it could be a minus sign, right? It's just the equation that gives us a plus sign. It could also be a negative, plus or minus. So again, the goal is to rewrite this into that form, right? We want to make it so I have y by itself. Essentially, I am solving for y. If you remember back at Unit 2A, we did a little bit of this where we were solving for different variables. So let's take a look at our first example equation. It says 2x plus y equals 3. So my equation says ax. This says 2x. So 2 is my a. My equation says by. This says y. So my b is 1, right? There's really an imaginary 1 there. And then equals c. C equals 3 in this equation. So ax plus by equals c, 2x plus 1y equals 3. We want to maneuver this equation, manipulate this equation so we have a y by itself. That means I need to take this 2x and put it over on the other side of this equation. So how do I move one term from one side of the equal sign to the other side of the equal sign? I have to do the opposite operation of whatever is happening. My 2x is positive, so that means I need to subtract 2x from both sides of the equal sign. On the left side, 2x minus 2x is 0. Those cancel each other out. My y drops down. Now, I want to have this equation look like this. Y equals mx plus b. I want my x term to come first, and then I want my constant number to come at the end. I cannot subtract 3 minus 2x. There's no x on the 3, so I can't subtract those two. That 3 minus 2x is not 1x, right? I can't combine a term with a variable with a term without a variable. So what I need to do is just rewrite this with both of these terms separate. I'm not trying to combine them at all. They're just going to be separately on their own. Again, I look at my equation that I'm trying to get it into, y equals mx plus b, and that's going to kind of show me the order of things and how they should be written. Y equals mx plus b. My x term comes first. My negative 2 has the x on it, so I'm going to write that first, negative 2x. My 3 is a positive 3, so I'm going to put plus 3. This now looks like this, right? Y equals some number times x plus some number. So y equals negative 2x plus 3. That looks like that. I'm done. I can now identify what my slope is, and I can identify what my y-intercept is. My slope is negative 2, or negative 2 over 1. And my y-intercept, my y-intercept is 3. All right, let's go next one. I have 4x plus 5y equals negative 30. 4x plus 5y equals negative 30. I want to get y by itself. I want just this y by itself. The first thing I need to do before I mess with this term is to move this one over to the other side of the equal sign. So my 4x is positive. I'm going to use the opposite operation, which is subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 4x. What I do on one side of the equal sign, I do on the other side of the equal sign. My 5y drops down. I cannot combine 30 and 4x because one of those terms has a variable, the other one doesn't. I always want to write my x term first. So this, in this case, it's my negative 4x. That's going to be written minus 4x. My 30 has a negative in front of it, so minus 30. Great, I want to get y by itself. It has a 5 attached to it in front. When a number and a letter are touching right next to each other, that means multiplication is happening. If I want to do opposite operations to get this variable by itself, the opposite operation of multiplication is division. So that tells me I need to divide by 5. Remember, we're using a fraction line, we're turning it into a fraction to divide. We're not using a little division symbol like you might have done in middle school. We're going to divide, use a fraction line to show division by 5. And then what we do on one side of the equal sign, we do to everything on the other side of the equal sign. Now you can either do it like this, where you have that 5 dividing, right? Negative 4 divided by 5, and then negative 30 divided by 5. You can write it like that, which I think is helpful for some people. Or if you don't like that, you can put one big long division line and put your 5 underneath. Either way is okay. Either way is correct. I, for right now, am going to split it up so that we can see where our numbers are coming from. 5 divided by 5 is just 1. So those go away, and I'm left with 1y equals negative 4 divided by 5. If I punch that into my calculator, I'm going to get a bunch of decimals, and I don't want that, so I'm just going to leave that as a fraction. Negative 4 over 5x. 5 does divide into 30 evenly. 5 goes into 30 6 times, so minus 6. And again, use your calculator if you're unsure. Even if you think you are sure, I always suggest use your calculator, double check yourself, make sure you're getting your positives and negatives correct. It is a tool that's there for you, so you should use it. Okay, now we have y equals negative 4 over 5x minus 6. This looks like this. Y equals mx plus b. Once our equation looks like y equals mx plus b, we are able to identify our slope, negative 4 over 5. M equals negative 4 over 5. And our y-intercept, negative 6. Remember to include that negative sign in front of the 6. Y-intercept equals negative 6. All right, next example. We have x minus 3y equals 12. I want to turn that into y equals mx plus b. I want to get that y by itself. The first thing I need to do is get the x to the other side of the equal sign. My x is positive. I'm going to subtract x on one side of the equal sign, so I have to subtract x on the other side of the equal sign. The x's on the left-hand side of the equal sign will cancel. My negative 3y will drop down, equals, I want my x term to come first and my constant term, or just the number, to come second. I cannot subtract 12 minus x because I cannot subtract or add a term that does not have a variable with a term that does have a variable. So we just keep those two terms separate and write them as they are. Negative x, my 12 is a positive 12, so it gets up plus 12. Make sure you include your plus sign. All right, I don't want negative 3y, I just want 1y. To get 1y, remember, the negative 3 is being multiplied by y. I have to do the opposite operation to break things apart. The opposite operation of multiplication is division. So I am going to divide by negative 3. What I do on one side of the equal sign, I do on the other side of the equal sign. So I'm going to divide each term by negative 3. All right, on the left side of the equal sign, negative 3 divided by negative 3 is just 1y. Negative 1x divided by negative 3 is a positive 1 over 3x. A negative number divided by a negative number is a positive number. Positive 12 divided by negative 3. 3 goes into 12 4 times. A positive divided by a negative gives me a negative 4. 3 goes into 12 4 times. Great, now I can identify my slope, and my y-intercept. My slope equals 1 over 3. My y-intercept equals negative 4. All right, last equation, and then we are done with this page. We're doing the same thing we've done on all the others. I have x minus y equals negative 8. I want to get the y all by itself. First thing I need to do is move the x to the right. In all of these examples, we're subtracting the x term, but if this x term is a negative, then I would just add it to move it to the other side, right? So just because we're subtracting them in these examples does not mean we always subtract. The only reason I'm subtracting is because I'm doing the opposite operation of what's given to me. If I'm given a positive here, then I need to subtract. This is a positive 4x, so minus 4x. This is a positive 2x, so minus 2x. This is a positive x, so minus x. That's the only reason these are all subtraction. What I do on one side of the equal sign, I do to the other. Can I subtract negative 8 minus x? Well, does the negative 8 have an x on it? No, it does not, so I cannot subtract those two terms. On the left side, my x's will cancel. I'm left with negative y equals negative x minus 8. I don't want to know what negative y is. I want to know what positive y is. And really, that's saying negative 1 times y. The opposite operation of multiplication is division, so I'm going to divide by that negative 1 that's being multiplied by y. So I divide by negative 1 on the left side of the equal sign. What I do on one side, I have to do to the other. We'll do divided by negative 1, divided by negative 1. Negative 1 divided by negative 1 is a positive 1, y, so y equals negative 1x divided by negative 1 is a positive 1x. Negative 8 divided by negative 1 is a positive 8. So here we go. My slope isn't 0, right? It's not a 0 that's in front of that x. It's a 1. So my slope equals 1. My y-intercept equals 8. So you have to be comfortable being able to move terms from one side of an equal sign to the other. You have to be comfortable solving for a variable. If it's a solve for y, right, getting a variable by itself. These are things that you will see over and over again throughout this school year. So if you are struggling with these concepts, you just don't understand why I'm doing some of the things I'm doing or where I'm getting the numbers that I'm getting, please come see me, come to my FITS, talk to your teachers. Otherwise, if you are getting it and you notice that maybe the person sitting next to you is struggling, offer to help, right? Offer to help in class. That would be great too. Anyway, if these are helpful to you, then that's great. I hope they are. I'll see you in class, and we'll see you later.